Hello everybody, Chad, founder of conformtojesus.com. In today's video, we're going to talk about Proverbs 3 being a recipe for success, giving us humility as an active ingredient in this delightful chapter. And in this article, I want to highlight the key themes: a call to listen and follow God's wisdom, trusting in the Lord, and heeding to God's discipline, giving us practical examples that will help resonate with us in today's cultural landscape. So we want to call all of us to listen and follow the writer's instructions as a recipe for success. The Bible is clear that when we heed to God's teachings and obey His instructions, we will live a long life and enjoy the peace of knowing God. There are several reasons why obeying rules and seeking wisdom may lead to a longer life. And this is not just taught in the Christian scriptures, but in other religious and philosophical traditions as well. First, wisdom can cultivate healthy living. Many rules emphasize behaviors that avoid harmful substances like drugs and alcohol and focus on the importance of exercising and eating well. So when you are obeying God's rules, it can actually prevent you from getting diseases and conditions that will shorten your lifespan. Second, as you know, rules and laws are put in place to protect individuals from harm. For example, when a light turns red, a car is legally obligated to stop. If they don't, a traffic violation can occur, but even worse, they can injure themselves and others. So by following simple rules, society can avoid accidents that could be fatal. Third, wisdom has been proven that when you seek it and follow a moral code, you can actually reduce stress and anxiety. The Bible tells us to cast our cares upon the Lord, for His yoke is easy and His burden is light. Furthermore, a religious community encourages support that helps individuals cope with stress and other challenges that are difficult to face alone. So we want to trust in the Lord. That is a recipe for success. And the recipe for success in verses 3 through 12, the author calls believers to trust in the Lord and not to rely on one's own understanding. So why is it unadvisable to only rely on self? Because each of us have a limited perspective. There are experiences, biases, and knowledge that we do not have, so it's important to gain resources outside of ourselves to gain a broader perspective. Moreover, all of us have blind spots that can impact our decision making. I currently work on a team with Coldwell Banker, and my leader is very good at breaking down complex ideas into simple truths. My other coworker is gifted in understanding the contract and legality to real estate transactions. So without their input, I would make more inaccurate decisions. Finally, our own emotions can cloud our judgments and lead us to making decisions that can harm us. When we hear from a non-biased perspective, it becomes more objective and logical than if we were to rely on our own inner emotions. In Proverbs chapter 3, God also teaches us to honor the Lord with our wealth. When my wife and I got married, I quickly noticed how she was tithing and I was not. I made more money than her, and yet I was holding back and not giving to the Lord. When we become stingy with our money, it shows us the false gods that we worship in our hearts. So therefore, as Christians, as believers in the Lord, it's important to use our resources for good. We can honor the Lord with our wealth by supporting local Christian businesses, investing in education for the youth, and donating to organizations that help others that are in need. For example, Samaritan's Purse is a fantastic organization that helps people who are victims of war, natural disasters, and famine. When Fort Myers, my town, got hit by a massive Category 4 hurricane, there were many victims who lost their homes due to the flood surge. One individual reached out to me and asked for help because her home was entirely caked with mold due to the flood. I connected her with Samaritan's Purse, and they were able to come out and help her clean up the home. What an amazing blessing to use your money for the glory of Christ. Now, wisdom brings blessings, and it is a recipe for success. In the next few verses of A Recipe for Success in Proverbs 3, the author describes the value of wisdom as more precious than silver, gold, and precious stones. Furthermore, wisdom is promised to provide long life, riches, and honor for those who possess wisdom. Now, the reason why wisdom is considered more precious than gold is because it has a lasting and enduring value that is not dependent on our circumstances or material possessions. Gold is only temporary and can be taken from us at any minute. However, wisdom is within our hearts and cannot be bought or stolen. Rather, it is acquired through experience, reflection, and a willingness to learn from both our successes and our failures. There's a true story about a woman who arrived home from work as she had immediately noticed her home had been broken into. The thief took several valuable items, including her diamond necklace that her grandmother had given to her as a wedding gift. This cherishable item made her heartbroken, not because of its material value, but because it was a symbol of her family connection. And now it was gone. She filed a police report, but was pessimistic that really anything would ever come out of it. Fortunately, a few weeks later, a pawn shop owner gave her a call and said that someone had brought in a necklace matching the exact description of the jewelry that went missing. She found out that the woman who stole her jewelry was behind on rent and just made a poor decision to steal instead of asking for help. Nevertheless, she decided not to hold a grudge and use the experience as an opportunity to reflect on why forgiveness is a key attribute all of us should work on. No matter how valuable our belongings are, they can be taken away instantaneously. But life lessons, they last forever. Trusting in God's discipline is a success. Is something that we need to talk about for a recipe for success in Proverbs 3. King Solomon advises his readers to keep God's commands in one's heart and not to be wise in one's own eyes. Being wise in one's own eyes signifies an overestimation of knowledge and opinions. This can lead to many potential setbacks like limiting growth and development, collaborating, cooperating with others, poor decision making, and arrogance, and of course pride. I had a taste of my own medicine when I overestimated my own ability to correctly fill out a real estate contract. Now in Florida, we have the FAR as-is contract, which is a general contract that people use to bind two parties, and then there is a condo rider required to show how much the fees and the special assessments are. Now both parties were already under contract, and I realized 2 weeks in that the buyer agent forgot to put in the names of his buyers on the condo rider form. Now looking back, I am glad that I double, triple checked my work and had all the parties initial the changes before closing. But it's still a good reminder to stay humble and make sure that you're on it with your work. So when you have an attitude of always learning and adapting, you will be set up for success. In conclusion, Proverbs chapter 3 highlights the importance of trusting in the Lord, seeking wisdom, and following God's commands. So when you obey God's commands, you will find true peace and prosperity. This recipe for success is what all of us need to incorporate into our daily lives. Thank you so much for listening to today's video on Proverbs chapter 3. Please stay tuned for the next video on Proverbs chapter 4. I look forward to that conversation shortly. Have a great day.